Hey everybody, it's Michelle here again with Birth Uhura. Here at Birth Uhura, I am a full spectrum plant-based holistic doula and an advocate for all things safe, natural, and effective. Here on this channel, we discuss all things pregnancy, birth, and womb health related. So if you guys like the content and you like what you hear on the channel, please be sure to subscribe. Today's topic is going to be about overfeeding your baby. So before I start, I want to quickly say that you really can't, if you're breastfeeding, you really can't overfeed your baby. And I want to start with saying this because a lot of the mothers that I work with, a lot of mothers that I just talk to, on a day-to-day basis, they have this conception like, oh, my baby is eating too much. And they're waking up every 2 hours, every 3 hours. And this is normal. This is very, very normal for a new baby to come into the world and eat this way. First of all, their stomachs is really, really little. So they're only intaking very small amounts at a time. And so our breast milk is very easily digestible, so it goes through their body very quickly. So a lot of newborn babies will have a lot of wet diapers, a lot of poopy diapers, because they are it's going in, they're taking what they need, and it's coming out. It is really, really hard to overfeed a breastfed baby. It just doesn't happen. Now, with formula fed babies, you can overfeed them, and here's why. So, something in our breast milk, there's a hormone called leptin. And adults have it, we all have it. But there is a hormone that releases itself into our breast milk so that it communicates with our baby's body, and it inhibits hunger. So basically, it tells your baby that he or she is full. And this hormone comes at the latter part of your breastfeed, your nursing time, to say, hey baby, you've had enough, your belly is full. And if they continue to suck, usually I know the suckling will get lighter, or as they fall asleep, it'll just be like because they're just using it to soothe them. They're using it for comfort. They're not really eating. It may seem like they're eating, but they're not actually like getting a really good drag and a really good pull at the latter part of the feeding. It's just more so, I just want to fall asleep, or I'm used to having this in my mouth. It's like a pacifier almost. And so that's pretty much that whole thing. But so back to the leptin, this hormone that is not present in formula milk. So your baby doesn't get the sensation of feeling full. And a lot of women will tell me like, oh, my baby is 4 months drinking 8 ounces of milk. And I'm like, well, are you breastfeeding or are you formula feeding? And most times I have not yet to hear a woman tell me that their baby is drinking 8 ounces of milk at 4 months if they're breastfeeding. It's usually a formula fed baby. And that is just literally because your baby cannot feel full. The breast milk, and I talked about this in a previous video, has a complete structure of everything. It has the lipids, it has the fats, it has the carbohydrates, it has the sugars, the proteins, everything is in that milk. And in the process of you nursing, your body creates different things at different times to communicate with the baby. So the leptin, sorry, comes during the latter part of the nursing, and that is not present in any formula. So your baby can never really feel full. So we start to see these very, very chunky babies, these very fluffy, full babies, and they are cute and adorable, but they are being overfed. And then I have other women who tell me, well, I breastfed my baby and they threw up a lot. And we don't pay attention to what we're eating. Sometimes the baby is not throwing up because they're overfed. They're throwing up because they may have a sensitivity to something that you ate that day. It could be gluten, it could be soy, it could be dairy, it could be anything, beans. So that could be the reason, but not that they are being overfed. So yes, uh, formula fed babies can definitely be overfed. Often they are overfed because, again, they do not have the ability to know when they're full or not. I think a rule of thumb with the breastfed babies is that if their hand is closed, this often means I still want to eat or I'm hungry. Um, and when the hand relaxes and opens up, this is kind of like I'm full and I'm satisfied. And that's something that you will see in a breastfed baby. But a formula fed baby is a little bit more difficult to kind of see that. So you definitely want to pace feed. You definitely want to consult with a lactation consultant whether you are going to breastfeed or not. I would hope that your baby is breastfed, but there are so many situations I can never um, account for everyone. I know there are people who have to medically get a breast reduction because it's uh, messing with their quality of life. I know that there's certain people who have very rare conditions, or there has been babies who have been allergic to their mother's milk. And it's so many different, very small population of people who have these particular issues. So I'm not speaking to that population. I want to be sure that I am not offending anyone when I speak about these things, but I'm really, really just targeting and trying to speak to the people who were miseducated, the people who were told your baby is eating too much or your baby is not getting enough, and that's why they're eating every 2 hours. That is not true. They are getting enough. Their bellies is about the size of a cherry, when they are born. And I'm not talking about those big, gigantic cherries that we're getting from, the store. I'm talking about, a small cherry, a natural cherry that grows on a tree. And their bellies are so small, and it does grow over time. But it's it's you're feeding your baby and they're getting what they need, and it's going through a process, and they're needing more, and that's really just the simplest way that I can explain it. But eating every 2 hours um is normal for the first couple of months. It's not sometimes it goes on to 6 months. Like my babies, I don't know, they breastfed, I mean, all through the night. I said, crazy to say it, but my a little bit over 2 year old, it's will still nurse through the night, and it's just like wow, like but she's healthy, she's thriving, all of those great things. So it's really not an issue or a problem. It's just about education. It's about knowing why. It's about knowing what's going on. So if your baby is formula fed, which I'm an advocate for breastfeeding. I'm going to always try to talk to you, try to get you to understand, try to help you and inform you to breastfeed your baby. But if that baby has to be fed with another milk, let's look for alternatives that suit our children. Let's be sure that we are getting milk that is not going to harm their bodies. Because when you start to see babies who are overfed with formula, they have digestion issues. They can't, they have open gut. You're stretching their stomach, so now they need a lot of food because their stomachs are bigger. Um, then you start to see obesity, and the babies are overweight, and all of those different kinds of things, manifest themselves throughout their lives because of those first stages. So it's definitely important to be careful, pace feed, look for cues. Understand that crying is not always associated with feeding, and just kind of read up on it, research, educate, ask other moms who have had these issues. But overfeeding is pretty much not going to be popular in the breastfeeding world. It's usually with the formula fed babies. And again, I advocate for breastfeeding. I feel that breast is best. I know that fed is necessary, but your breast milk is the best milk. And it is also important to nourish your body, because if you are not eating well, then you and baby can't see the beautiful results of that bond and that nutritional lifestyle. So it's really important for you to be well versed. You need, read, get books, talk to other people, get into some mom groups. And that's a little tricky too, because it's so many people with so many different opinions. But yeah, that's my take on overfeeding babies. If I haven't discussed something that you wanted to hear, or you would like me to discuss a topic that I haven't already, please be sure to reach out to us at birthyhoover@gmail.com. Again, my name is Nichelle. I am a full spectrum holistic doula with Birth Uhura, and I will see you guys for the next video. Peace and pregnancy dust.